I can't play guitar, don't know how to sing. I think everything in this world is broken. I can't really think, don't know how to love. Watching clouds above fly away from me. It's all an illusion, color outside the lines. Institutions will blow away. Enter a sunny day, not a cloud anywhere, whispering a secret name. Name of the universe, it's the same as the name of God. Look to water and blood for the name of God. If you wonder how I get carried away, ask the thunder on that cloudless day. Deep blue ocean, waves pounding the shore. Spiritual motion tells me which way to go. Birds flying over an endless sea. Give me visions of all I need.
Good morning, and welcome to the virtual Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart. We are a welcoming community, encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual, spiritual, and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, promoting a just and sustainable world. My name is Ryan Gill, and I'm a member of the board of this congregation. Welcome to you all, and thank you for tuning in today.
Good morning, and welcome to the service for the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart. My name is Amy DeBeck. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and it is my privilege to serve UUFE as their minister. It's also an honor and really wonderful to welcome you this morning to our service. Today we are going to experience water communion. We've been doing this every year at UUFE for probably 30 years, if not longer. I'm really happy you're with us today. Some things I wanted to tell you about are that later on today, September 27th at 2 o'clock, we'll be doing registering people to vote at the Civic Plaza on Main Street in downtown Elkhart. If you have not registered to vote, come and let us help you. And if you know of someone who needs help, send them over. We'll be there 2 to 3. Also, whether you come and see us or not, please check and make sure. Even though you are already registered to vote, please make sure that your name did not get dropped. The state of Indiana has dropped 100,000 voters, and they don't have to tell us when our name gets scrubbed from a list. So make sure that you're eligible to vote. Also, next Sunday, October 4th, our service at 10 a.m. will be Blessing of the Animals. If there has been one silver lining of doing online services, it will be the Blessing of the Animals. Tell your dog or cat or iguana or goldfish or snake or whatever that they get to be the center of attention next week. We're going to have a Zoom service that gets recorded. So if you want to log on with us at 10 o'clock with your animal for a blessing, I hope you will. But it will be recorded and put up on YouTube later so that people can watch it after as well. Next Sunday, October 4th at 2 o'clock is the last time that we'll be on the Civic Plaza registering people to vote, because registration ends Monday, October 5th. Early voting begins Tuesday, October 6th. Make a plan for what you're going to do and then carry out that plan, because voting is a civic sacrament.
We ring the gong 3 times, once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those of us who are here now, virtually. And once for those who will come after us and build on the dream. The chalice lighting today is adapted from Kaylee Rice. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling toward its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. On Sunday, September 6th, some of us brought water to UUFE and poured it into our common bowl. Though our experiences have differed, these waters mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today you came virtually and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred ceremony, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but when we are all safe and able to return to this beloved community, may we return where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
This week, as I thought about gathering together all of the elements for our water communion, there were a lot of things on my heart and in my mind. A very dear lay member of the Unitarian Universalist Association died this week. Her name's Alandria Williams. She has been dear to many, many people. I did not know her well, but a lot of my minister friends really counted on her and called her a friend. She was our co-moderator at this last year's General Assembly, and she continued to serve our faith through all of her illnesses and hospitalizations, and I lift up Alandria Williams. Also, I lift up that this was the first time this week that a woman was given the honor to lie in state at the Capitol as people visited the coffin of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's kind of been a heavy week, and water communion is a joyful and solemn ritual that we do. I've incorporated elements of its beginnings with women's groups, and I've incorporated the fact that, like a river, we're always changing, and 40 years after the first water communion, the UUA is really focusing our efforts on dismantling white supremacy. With all of this in mind, I come to you and think, what could I bring you in way of prayer or meditation or poetry that might hit those marks? I turn to Maya Angelou. I often have. Her poem called Woman Work is what I offer to you now. She wrote, I've got the children to tend, the clothes to mend, the floor to mop, the food to shop, then the chicken to fry, the baby to dry. I got company to feed, the garden to weed. I've got shirts to press, the tots to dress, the can to be cut. I gotta clean up this hut, then see about the sick and the cotton to pick. Shine on me, sunshine, rain on me, rain. Fall softly, dewdrops, and cool my brow again. Storm, blow me from here with your fiercest wind. Let me float across the sky till I can rest again. Fall gently, snowflakes. Cover me with white, cold, icy kisses, and let me rest tonight. Sun, rain, curving sky, mountain, oceans, leaf and stone, starshine, moon glow, you're all that I can call my own. day that we here at UUFE will honor our annual ritual of water communion. For many of us new to this congregation, and some who have taken part in the water ceremony, it's a good time to retrace its origins and look at its current meaning. In the 1980s, our association was experiencing intersectionality, even if that wasn't a word yet. The first thing to note is that the principles and purposes had been updated, but very soon it became clear that we needed better strides toward gender-inclusive language. The second point in our intersections is that in 1977, a new national group had formed called Women in Religion. Do you know our hymn, Spirit of Life? It was written by Carolyn McDade, and she was instrumental in forming Women in Religion. It put women in a more elevated place within our association. You see what I did there? Instrumental, and she's a musician. Well, the third historical part of the intersection, in context, is that the UUA has always been working toward expansiveness, and so at that time, women's groups enjoyed a resurgence, and also there were many new beginnings. So, at the Women in Religion retreat in 1980, it was right near here in East Lansing, Michigan. The times were verdant for growth and change. The first water ceremony had been planned to uplift the relationship between women and water. Here is a sample of that first service, co-led by Carolyn McDade and Lucille Longview. They wrote, "Water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence, acknowledging that the ocean is considered by many to be the place from which all life on our planet came. It is the womb of life, and that amniotic waters surround each of us prenatally. We now realize that this worship service was, for us, a new story of creation. We choose water as our symbol of our empowerment." Within that framework, they sent out a call for women who would be coming to that conference to bring water from different areas and mingle all those waters. As the first reading spoke of oceans, this next one speaks of rivers. And I do want it to be understood in context that it was about women and women's spirituality. But the beautiful thing about a piece of writing that becomes scripture is that you can imagine other groups using it as well. Making our way like rivers from places distant and near, we come together to give shape to a new spirituality. For there is no theology that calls women to strength rather than to support the strength of others, that calls women to action rather than to passivity, that calls women to full expression rather than to meek acceptance, recognizing that we see we must question every box, every definition, every assignment from an authority outside our own beings, so that we can create and recreate for ourselves the rituals and symbols that give meaning to us. So we come together to question, to hear, to share, to speak, to inspire, and to celebrate through new rituals, knowing that our energy and our love are transforming. Celebrating now our connectedness, we choose water as our symbol of our empowerment. As rivers in cycle release their waters and regain new beginnings, so do we cycle. For us as women, these beginnings are powerful but not easy. But still we come to create and to celebrate and to live by the only spirituality worthy of our devotion, a spirituality that uplifts, empowers, and connects. That first service moved its participants greatly, and all those who heard about it. Through repetition and adaptation, it kept growing in its reach. There is no specific date or even time of year that has specifically been attached to this ritual. In spite of, or because of this, most UU congregations take part in some manner of water ceremony. Today, 40 years after that first service, this ritual has grown, changed, expanded, and evolved, just like women and just like women's rights. Always with an eye toward equity and equality, even the date and time of year for the communion is up to discussion. For instance, it was almost starting to get nationally organized. For many years, most congregations agreed that it made sense for it to be on that first Sunday after Labor Day. Kids are back at school, the pools are closed, and we can recount our summer travels. This is how I did it for years in different states. Well, the times come and go, and we become newly aware as we grow. After years of doing it that way, it came to my realization, finally, that many families don't get to travel, and it's a drag to hear what they did not get to do. Several families do not raise children, and school starting does not affect them. Water communion, water ceremony, water ritual, what have you, will keep expanding to invite more people in, whatever the date, whatever the time of year. We, Unitarian Universalists, we even have a Wikipedia entry for the UU Water Communion. I love our Water Communion Sunday. In the 21st century, sometimes the service or the homily during the service might be about climate change. It might be about the restorative and destructive nature of water. It might be about global water wars. And yes, sometimes it even gives room for some feel-good travelogues for us to recount so that we have the chance to be happy for each other. There is always revelation, connection, and memory. As people pour into the common bowl the waters they bring to the ceremony, connection is made between the people there presently, but connections are also made to the past. When I was quite new here, about a dozen years ago, I became friends with a Christian clergy group member who knew about our water communion. He asked, "What do I do with the water afterward?" And I told him that I save it and we use it as our community holy water. I have blessed babies and houses and new dreams, and I've anointed the sick and dying. He said that they too make their own holy water. They make it holy by boiling the hell out of it. Well, obviously, being a Universalist, I got permission, but I stole that line and I use it freely. I don't think it was his originally, but we boil the hell out of our water after we sift it through cheesecloth to remove sediment, and after we have mingled the old with the new. The common bowl always starts with last year's water. Floating around that common bowl are particles from each water communion UUFE has ever had. When this year's water gets added, it mingles with waters that have been there for decades, including water poured in by people who are no longer with us. The water this year includes some lakes and swimming pools and homes during the pandemic, and it mingles with waters previously poured by people who went to different countries, far-off continents, lifelong dream trips, and it gives us the chance to remember who we are now, remember who we have been, and remember those departed. maybe more accurately, the water remembers for us. Many people ask, well, how does a person become a Unitarian Universalist? Like, do you have to convert or attend a liberal catechism? Is water communion like a baptism? It's not. I have a couple answers for how to become a Unitarian Universalist, and if you'd like to discuss it further, call me. I've got the membership book. We can talk. The first way that you know that you have become a Unitarian Universalist is after you've been visiting for a while, online or in person, you're investigating us, and maybe you're telling some people, oh, I've been going to this church, or I've been going to this service, or people ask you, do you have a church? And you say, well, you know, I've been checking out UUFE. And the first time that somebody says, do you have a church? Do you go to a church? And you hear yourself say, oh, I'm a Unitarian Universalist. Well, then you are, because it's a self-realization. The second way that you might find out that you're a Unitarian Universalist has to do with water communion. It's when you're having a special time, indoors, outdoors, locally, far away, and you realize you want to take water from that day and save it until water communion. Even though it's, you know, October and you just had it and you know you're going to have to store that water for like a whole year, and you do it anyway. That's when a person realizes that sharing the water with beloved community is important, and that the ritual is something reliable. It's something that you plan for. It's something you look forward to. I will never forget the summer that we were pulling out of the Quillen parking lot at Ferry Beach in Maine, and it had been really hard to pack up and bug out, and we're definitely ready to drive away. One of the kids, I don't remember which one, they were really little. They demanded that we stop, that we get out of the car, we find a container, and we take some Atlantic Ocean water with us for communion, even though it was probably June and water communion was several months away. They were really little, and they knew that they wanted to have water with them. We began our talk today with that word intersectionality and discussion about water and women. Intersectionality means, in part, that until we are all free, none of us are free. But it also incorporates a saying I like to use, that a rising tide lifts all boats. What is done to any of us is done to all of us. Intersectionality, if we think about community and how it gets built, will help us understand the context for how I have approached this year's water communion. Because there's a pandemic threatening lives, I mean, we've lost 200,000 just in our nation, or close to 200,000. Because there is this pandemic, those of us who follow science quarantine. In many cases, the law has to force people to take health precautions because they would not on their own. So there are mask mandates. With all of these issues of survival right in front of us, we as a nation and we as individuals have started to really think about that word, survival. In many parts of the country, we are looking more honestly at how hard it is for Black people and brown people and other people of color to survive. As our nation experiences protests, as we participate in those protests, we clamor for the day when Black lives matter. Like in 1980, at that first water communion, when we realized that women's lives matter and that gender inclusiveness was important. 40 years later, we are committed to raising our own awareness of the importance of dismantling white supremacy, even within ourselves, especially within ourselves. The pandemic has made us cancel most of our trips and most of the longed-for visits with family and friends, but it's given us time and opportunity for introspection. In our faithful efforts to be more inclusive, to be expansive even, our congregations this year are lifting up women's rights and opportunities to exhibit how Black Lives Matter, and that while science and religion can certainly coexist, science is not an opinion. We might agree to disagree on matters like how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, or which month was Jesus really born in. We can agree to disagree on any number of religious differences, but we cannot really debate whether science is real. It is. Wear masks. Keep your distance. Water communion in this heavy context, in these trying times, is more important than usual. We're connected. We need to remember that. We need to look at women and people of color and other oppressed minorities. Just as the original participants, women, needed to reclaim their holiness, their authenticity, even as dominant culture was slow to be inclusive, so are we today. Women and men are moving toward an expansive understanding of our world and all of the anti-racism work we need to do. Expansiveness, not exclusiveness. So, we brought last year's water to UUFE on Labor Day weekend. We brought it in a common bowl, and we asked people to come by and bring their water to add to it. And when they did, which you'll see in a bit, the blessing of the congregation comes in the form of representatives, the people who came by and added their water to the bowl. So we've had the origin of the common bowl, we've had the blessing by people bringing in their own water, and the use will come as you need it. Remembering all of those who came before, remembering all of those who brought their water to this ritual years ago, remembering all of those who still have little containers or big water bottles full that they are someday going to remember to bring to a water ceremony. For settled ministers and interim ministers who kept the water from each year to pass on for the next. For those who did not leave quarantine to come to UUFE a couple of weeks ago to share the water of their life. For those who will call me or the care team and let us know of a need for holy water. For all of us, this is a day that we can look forward to. Not a specific date, but the ritual. We are all connected, and this water is made holy by the connections of beloved community, past and present. Like a river flows, always changing, may our love and our meaning-making keep changing to be more expansive, more inclusive, more healing for a world in need. May this water and this ceremony heal the places in you that need healing. I wish for you growth, resilience, strength, love, and connection.
All right.
This water is from our swimming pool, which it's been a very hot summer and we've all been stuck at home, so it's been great to have that to get in every day. So I think it's pretty holy water.
Hi,
Go.
this is from Steve and Karen. This water is just from our tap, but it represents the universal part of our fellowship on our daily lives, that we're still separated but yet together in spirit, and so that's what that's about.
Okay, go.
This is our water from our rain barrels that we catch water on our house and our workshop, which nourishes the plants that we have and creates habitat around our wonderful half acre here in Elkhart.
Okay.
Hi, it's Ken and Joan, and we are pouring virtual water into the bowl that came from our only trip really so far this year, and it was to Beaver Dam, Wisconsin to visit Becky and her husband, and we got to enjoy two lakes, Beaver Dam Lake and Fox Lake.
I'm Annette,
And I'm Terry.
and in our non-environmentally conscious containers, which we will recycle, we have water from at least 3 different locations. We think that this one is from Wellfield. I wrote on it, but that was today. I don't remember if it's Wellfield. In any case, Wellfield is a very special place to our family.
Okay. And then this water is from a summer getaway we had, a socially distanced summer getaway we had at Chena Lakes State Park.
Do you want to read?
This is water from, so there's 9 lakes in Chena Lakes State Park, and this water is from Dock Lake, Sand Lake, and Long Lake.
And Long Lake. And lastly,
This comes from a place that we've been spending a lot of time the last several months.
and that is
Our home.
home.
Lee Burdorf, and this is my well water from my house across the street. And do I pour it now?
Yes.
There we go.
Very good. Thank you.
What?
Yes.
Well, are we on?
Yes.
Okay, this is just from my well here in Elkhart. And I came back 5 years ago, and I really haven't been anywhere since. And I love my well, and I like being back here in Elkhart. So this is my offering for today. Yay!
Very good.
Justice in that land, there'll be justice in that land, there'll be justice in that land, where I'm bound, there'll be justice in that land, there'll be justice in that land, there'll be justice in that land, where I'm bound.
Our benediction today comes from Carolyn McDade. the words to her hymn, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. May the blessings of peace be with you as you go out into your week. I wish you peace, and I wish you the opportunity to vote if you haven't already. Blessed be. Amen. Go in peace. Stay home in peace. Go out in peace.